Happy trade deadline day, Giants fans. What's going on? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, as always, with the trade deadline just a couple of hours away. And all of the trade rumors over the past couple of days. We know the Giants have been in talks with the Denver Broncos when it comes to Jeudy. We know the Giants have called the Houston Texans when it comes to Brandin Cooks. It sounds like the Denver Broncos want a second and a fifth-round pick for Jeudy. I'm going to be honest, that's probably a little bit too rich for me. I'd roll with a second-round pick, and that's it. Also sounds like the Texans want a second-round pick for Brandin Cooks, which for me, a 29-year-old wide receiver due $18 million guaranteed in the 2023 season is just a little bit too rich. So at first, we'll take a look at some guys that we haven't really talked about on the channel that could be on the move. Then we'll talk a little bit more about the big dogs later. Let's start with Marvin Jones, the wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Giants and Giants fans got a close-up look of Jones a couple of weeks ago when the Giants did play the Jaguars, had that nasty one-hand catch. He's an acrobatic type of catch type of dude. And the thing is, he's a legit NFL wide receiver. And these are the type of guys the Giants are going to be looking for in the trade market at this point. A guy that you could trade a day 3 draft pick for, a 5th, a 6th, or a 7th round pick, and just get Daniel Jones in this offense, a legit talent on the outside, and that's what Marvin Jones is. Back in 2019, he had 780 grabs for 9 touchdowns. 2020, almost 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. 832 and 4 scores in 2021, and so far through 8 games of the 2022 schedule, he has 22 grabs for 265 and a TD. Marvin Jones is the type of receiver the Giants could target. Another guy is Kendrick Bourne, the wide receiver for the New England Patriots. This is a guy that's kind of fallen out of the rotation, a simple way to say it, with the New England Patriots. Go back to the 2021 season. He was almost damn near the number 1 wide receiver for Mac Jones and that Patriots offense. 55 grabs, 800 yards, 5 TDs, but with guys being added like Tyquan Thornton and Devontae Parker to New England, Kendrick Bourne has kind of just fallen out of favor. I like Bourne, not an elite wide receiver by any means, but he is someone that can definitely make this team a little bit better. He helps on the outside. He can stretch the field. He can really play all over the field in the slot and on the outside. I'd give up a 5th or 6th round pick for Kendrick Bourne. I don't think it would cost any more than that for the New York Football Giants. So I've showed you 2 wide receivers early on. So I want to ask you guys this question. Who would you rather have out of the first 2 guys that we mentioned? Pick a wide receiver. Type MJ for Marvin Jones or KB for Kendrick Bourne. Another wide receiver that could be potentially on the move. What about Josh Reynolds, the wide receiver for the Detroit Lions? This is a guy that's moved around a couple of times in the NFL, but he's not a scrub. This is someone that would come in and maybe already be one of the most talented wide receivers on this team so far through the 2022 season. Hasn't had the most amazing stats, but go back to 2021 where he had 29 grabs for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. In 2020, he had 52 grabs for 618 yards and 2 touchdowns. Or back in 2018 when he had 30 grabs for 402 and 5 TDs. This is the type of guy, these are the type of guys that the Giants are going to be looking at the trade market. Because look, let's be honest. If Darius Slayton gets hurt, the Giants are screwed at the wide receiver spot. They're going to be looking for day 3 guys, draft pick-wise, that they can make a trade for. I want to give a shout-out to a new sponsor we have here at Giants Now and Chat Sports, Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland, as well as to support global reforestation efforts. Through Established Titles, you can purchase souvenir plots of land in Scotland, and based on historic Scottish customs, this allows you to call yourself a lord or lady. We pledge to keep the entire woodland free from any use and commit to planting a tree with every order with our global charities. The title pack gives you at least 1 square feet of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. We plant a tree with every order and work with global charities. 1 tree planted and trees to the future to support global reforestation effort. Save an extra 10% with a perfect holiday gift. It's a good last-minute gift. You can get it on your ID. You can get it on a plane ticket. You can get it whatever. Become a lord or a lady. And the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will be effectively next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own little Giants Now kingdom. Get started today. EstablishedTitles.com/chat. Another wide receiver that we've talked about a little bit on the channel is Chase Claypool, the wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the big body, 6'4" guy. No doubt about it, Claypool has all the talent in the world to be an elite wide receiver. He just hasn't really been that guy since his rookie season back in 2020 when he had 62 receptions for 873 yards and 9 TDs. He has not benefited from playing with great QBs. Ben Roethlisberger was absolutely washed last year, and between Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky so far this year, how much can you really expect? I like Claypool. I think he's kind of a guy that's more of a me guy than a team guy. Go back to last year against the Minnesota Vikings, picked up that big first down. Clock was rolling. Should have ran the ball back to the ref so the Steelers could spike it and kick a field goal, but he pointed for a first down and celebrated, and the clock eventually ran out. Claypool, no doubt, has the talent. I just wonder if he's all about winning. That's my biggest thing with him. I think it would cost maybe a third or a fourth-round pick for Claypool. I'd do a fourth. Probably not a third, though. We got more wide receivers to talk about, but make sure you guys are subscribed because if the Giants make a trade, we will go live to break it down. When the Giants make a move, we break it down. When news, rumors come out, we get you guys a video as soon as possible. So join the channel, lock us in, help us get to 8,500 subs. We're about 300 subs away. You bleed Giants blue and you want Giants videos every single day, even during a bye week, hit that big red button right now. What about another wide receiver already playing for a New York football team? What about the New York Jets wide receiver Denzel Mims out of Baylor? This is a guy that has just not got it together with the Jets. He's only played in 2 games so far this season, and he's only played in 22 games so far in his career with the Jets. 34 receptions, 570 yards, 16.8 yards per catch. He's a guy that can line up on the outside and absolutely stretch the field. Go back to the preseason game where the Giants played the Jets. Denzel Mims had a big game, but for some reason, he just can't get on the field with the Jets. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't think you'd have to pay a premium price for a guy like Denzel Mims. We know the Giants and the Jets have done trade deadline moves before. Go back to the Leonard Williams move. I think Mims would be a good piece the Giants could go after for a low price. We've talked about Jeudy time and time again on this channel. The reports are the Giants have called, and the reports are the asking price is too much. Albert Breer just tweeted this out a couple of seconds ago saying Jeudy, the asking price via the Denver Broncos is a 2nd and 5th round pick. I'd be cool doing a 2nd round pick, but I think a 2nd and a 5th is a little bit too rich for me. This is a guy that hasn't really lived up to the hype coming out of Alabama, but there's no doubt the talent is there. There's no doubt there's a wide receiver one somewhere in that guy. I mean, his rookie year with bad QB play still had 52 grabs, 856 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Looked good last week in London. This is a guy that I think could set the Giants offense over the top. Look at the Bengals versus the Browns on Monday Night Football. Jamar Chase did not play. Joe Burrow was without his top target, and that offense looked anemic. They couldn't do anything. When you don't have a legit wide receiver on the outside, it allows defensive coordinators to call a much different game. It'd be pretty cool to see Daniel Jones with a guy that at least has wide receiver one talent. Another wide receiver that's been on the trade block and the one that the Giants have been interested in, according to reports, is Brandin Cooks, the wide receiver for the Houston Texans. This is a guy that's 29 years old. He's due $18 million next season guaranteed, and supposedly they want a 2nd round pick. That is far too much for Brandin Cooks, especially when you're going to be taking on $18 million guaranteed next year. I want the Giants to go make a move for a wide receiver. They need to. But I'm also under the expectations that Joe Schoen is not going to mortgage the future. Joe Schoen is not going to go all in for a wide receiver and trade multiple high-profile picks. But Brandin Cooks is a guy that can help this team. He is a big play machine. 12 catches of 20-plus yards in 2021, 20 of those catches in 2020. He has 6 1,000-yard receiving seasons under his belt. Brandin Cooks is a pro's pro. I just kind of get worried about trading for a 29-year-old wide receiver. DJ Moore, a guy that we haven't heard as much of recently. I don't think that the Carolina Panthers are going to move more unless they get an absolute great package, which is going to have to involve at least a first-round pick and then some. There's no doubt, though, DJ Moore is one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. I know some people are like, but Marshall, he took his helmet off and cost him the game. No, that stupid kicker cost him the game. He missed a 45-yard field goal to win the game, and then he missed another field goal in overtime. DJ Moore got him in that position. There's no overtime without DJ Moore. Look at this. 3 seasons in a row with over 1,100 yards and 4 TDs in all of those seasons, and that's playing with Sam Darnold and Cam Newton, Baker Mayfield, and P.J. Walker. This is a guy that's a legit wide receiver one. Anyone that argues that he's not doesn't really know ball. DJ Moore is a dog, and he would make this team much better. I just don't know if I would trade anything more than a first-round pick. I personally would do a first-round pick for DJ Moore. I know a lot of people might not think that, but I'm not doing a first-round pick plus another pick. Not a chance in hell. What about this, though? I gave you 8 guys so far today, 8 New York Giant wide receiver targets. Are the Giants going to make a trade? I doubt they get Jeudy. I doubt they get Brandin Cooks, but maybe a guy like Kendrick Bourne or maybe a guy like Marvin Jones, a veteran that could go for a day 3 pick, I think is more reasonable. I want to hear from you, though. A wide receiver you want the Giants to trade for. As always, I appreciate everybody that makes New York Giants Now a part of their day today. Give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. Everybody that follows me from this video, I'll give you a follow back. Just send me a DM saying wide receiver so that I know you came from this video.